Mr. Speaker, the immediate former Speaker, Mr. Attorney General, Honorable Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, my colleagues in the Judiciary, fellow Kenyans. Now, goodbyes are never easy, but the most painful are those that are never said and those that are never explained. Happily, ours is loud and public, and I would like to attempt an explanation of that as well. Now, everyone who occupies the office of the Chief Justice is instantly made aware of a hotline in his office that only receives calls from the State House. Previously, this telephone line was connected to a red handset, perhaps signifying danger, and only rang when there were presidential instructions to be transmitted. In the 21st month that I've been Chief Justice, I'm happy to report to all the judges here and the entire country that the hotline never rang. I congratulate you, Mr. President, for never picking up that telephone, regardless of how you felt about matters that were being handled in the judiciary. I believe that the relationship between the judiciary and the executive has never been one of instructing one another, but rather of pulling together when the national duty demands it. I just want also to say the person who showed me the hotline pointed at President Kibaki's photograph at the background, and they told me he is Simone ya mwenyewe. So, more than once in the past few months, the courts have made findings that run counter to the initial actions of your government. On equal occasions, you're being the larger man, the statesman with the ability to see that our nascent democracy was more important than engaging in unnecessary contest over who is right and who is wrong. It's not common for the heads of state to cede their power to constitutional commissions, as happened in the controversy preceding my appointment to the office of the Chief Justice. It's not common for a president to take no offense when reminded by a court to carry out a constitutional obligation, such as happened with the gazetting of the National Land Commission. And for them, the judiciary recognizes and honors you, Mr. President. There are those who interpret these events as examples of friction between the executive and the judiciary. I wish to disabuse them of that notion. For relations between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary have never been healthier in our democracy. The clarification of roles brought about by the new constitution has given rise to robust independence and constructive interdependence. It is this new relationship that has seen increased budgetary allocations for the judiciary. I would thank you, Mr. President, for personally intervening in discussions about the judiciary's budgetary allocation in the last financial year, which saw the institution receive 16 billion from the Exchequer. Similarly, I would like to thank you and the Honorable Prime Minister, your co-principal in the coalition government, for your support for the judicial transformation program and undertaking that not only requires political will but immense financial and physical resources. I also wanted to share with everybody present that in this issue of the budget for the judiciary, I was very clear that the President had made the necessary mental shift in implementing the Constitution. because the Treasury hadn't read the proper provisions, which actually say that we take our budgets and estimates to Parliament. And it was because of this intervention, basically pegged on the Constitution, that I recall, that I'm not about to forget. And with the new regime, I think there are guidelines that have been set during your tenure, Mr. President, which we must consolidate and build on. As an institution and as an individual, I'm aware that we owe a special debt of gratitude to the Speaker of the National Assembly for his support for this institution, not only in passing budgets, but also in responding positively to requests to amend or create legislation and provide robust institutional oversight. What I've called robust independence and also constructive interdependence. For those of you who saw the various arms talk about peace in Mombasa and Bomas, will give you an idea of what this robust independence and constructive interdependence is all about. I also want to remind everybody that there is a National Council for the Administration of Justice where the three arms sit and actually, debate issues. So in our jurisprudence, I'm sure we're going to refine the separation of powers, the interdependence and everything else. But we'll have to drag quite a number of people kicking and screaming so that they catch up with the new dispensation. You have trusted the Judicial Service Commission, Mr. President, to make the right call on the recruitment of judges at all levels, never once vetoing a nominee, and in any case, always gazetting and swearing in new appointees when called upon to do so. These tasks may appear mundane until they are left undone. They may appear easy until they are neglected. The leadership you have demonstrated in this regard lays a firm foundation for the culture of mutual cooperation and respect between the various organs of government. I also recall very fondly that whenever you saw in our judges, you asked them to support the judicial transformation framework. In this regard, I also wish to acknowledge the policy coordination role played by the Ministry of Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs and its minister for standing out front whenever the judiciary needed friends. Yet it should not come as a surprise to Kenyans that, Mr. President, you have been this supportive of the judiciary. You have also signaled to the future administrations that the suspicion and fear between the various branches of government is unnecessary and runs counter to the shared commitment to deliver services to the citizens. Your public posture and actions have always demonstrated a deeper understanding of the place of justice in society that aspires to greatness. You long ago recognized the importance of justice to the economy and to the politics of our country, and you have made consistent and heavy investments in a system that guarantees that sense of predictability that can only emerge from the rule of law. There have been many starts and stops, but in the end, you can look back on this institution and be satisfied that it bears your imprimatur in its desire to transform and serve the Kenyan people, as well as be a true beacon of society that Kenyan aspires to be.